and welcome to the Financial Aid Podcast for George Fox University. My name is Jordan Nelson, and I am the Scholarship Resource Coordinator here at George Fox. Today, I'm going to be giving you some information on the third step of the scholarship process, completing scholarship applications and essays. If you haven't listened to our first two podcasts, you can check those out on our financial aid webpage. What I'll be talking about today covers an overview of the entire scholarship process, so you can see the whole picture, even though we're only going to be talking about step 3 in length. I'll also be explaining how to identify what a donor needs and wants to hear. And then I'll go over an example essay I recently worked on with a student. First things first, an overview of the scholarship process. This is a 3-part strategy adapted from a book written by Jen and Kelly Tanab, who put themselves through Ivy League schools on external scholarships and then decided to write a book about it. They published a new edition every year called The Ultimate Scholarship Book, if you're interested in picking one up for yourself. Step 1 covers how to find the most viable scholarship leads by asking the right people the right questions. Step 2 is the sorting step. You don't want to apply for every scholarship you find because it forces you to limit how much time you spend on any one scholarship. The better strategy is to spend more time on 2 to 3 scholarships rather than a little bit of time on 10 scholarships. Step 3 is where we talk about how to market yourself to donors. Donors won't pick the most impressive candidate. They will choose the person who can most effectively communicate that he or she cares about the same things that the donor cares about. You can find podcasts on Step 1 and Step 2 on the Financial Aid webpage. So, let's talk a bit about who gives out scholarships, or who donors actually are. This list includes civic groups, clubs, nonprofits, local businesses and agencies, city and county government, credit unions, churches, and local employers. All of these organizations are structured pretty differently and all have different methods and means, but they also all have one thing in common. They're made up of people who are trying to make a positive impact on a specific field, people group, community, industry, etc. If they're offering a scholarship, they're looking for someone who cares about the same things that they care about. This means that no matter what essay prompt they use, they ultimately want to know who you are and what you care about. But that's a big question. You could write a whole book about who you are and what you care about, but you're probably going to want to keep your essay down to around 500 words. So instead of trying to tell them everything in your essay, focus on the things that you have in common. If you're trying to determine what you have in common with the organization or donor, that means you're going to have to ask some questions. For instance, what are their values? Or in other words, what do they care about? Or who do they care about? Then you'll move on to what their goals are. There are a lot of people and organizations that care about the same things, but they have different goals and methods. What is the organization's end game? What do they think the solution to the problem is? And finally, what kinds of projects are they working on? What are their methods that they're using to accomplish their goal? How are they getting done what needs to get done? The answers to these questions are going to tell you who the donor is and what they care about. Then you can compare their answers with your own and isolate the things that you have in common. Those are the points you want to focus on in your application and essay. Now, let's take a look at an example scholarship one of my students worked on. She's a physical therapy graduate student who applied for a travel therapy scholarship. She researched the organization through their website, read their about page, watched the videos on their page, and skimmed any recent news articles to see what people were saying about them. And finally, she called the scholarship coordinator at the company. Speaking directly to the organization allows you to cut through all of the PR on a web page and really determine what it is that the company ultimately cares about. Through her research, specifically after speaking to the scholarship coordinator, she found 5 internal principles that they are looking for in employees. The power of positive, respectful communication, a no complaining rule, discipline, and full expression and innovation. Using this information, the two of us were able to compare their values and methods with her own and determine what the two of them have in common. We found that they both value 4 things, namely positivity, innovation, perseverance, and diversity. Of course, they both value more than just those 4 things, but those were the only things that they had in common. Then we looked at how they both express those values. What do those things look like in a practical day-to-day context? How do they do what they do, and what has she done that matches up? It turns out they both live out their values through travel and cross-cultural experiences. So, now that she knew what to focus on, she set out to work on articulating this in less than 500 words. So we started with the essay prompt. Why did you choose to pursue a career in physical therapy? Her goal was to answer this question while demonstrating what she and the donor had in common. Here is what she wrote in her first draft. If you're listening to this without the visual presentation, you'll want to check out the video that accompanies this podcast so you can see her essay. This is the way that a lot of people will start scholarship essays, and there are a couple of things off about it. First, she didn't actually answer the question. I can't tell you how many times students have gotten so involved in writing about all the things that they've done and qualifications they have that they don't even think to clearly address the essay prompt. Another common thing she does is including common knowledge information with statements like, movement is essential to life, and that of being a physical therapist means accompanying patients and introducing them to physical activities. She's writing this essay to physical therapists. They're going to know all of these things, and it really doesn't add anything to her essay to include them. Lastly, she doesn't try to address or identify any of the things that they have in common. In contrast, this is her third draft. She answers the question clearly and concisely. All of the highlighted words are ones that would resonate with the company, and she manages to smoothly integrate them into her intro. She doesn't use I feel or I think statements, such as, I think the most rewarding part of physical therapy is, or I feel that as a result. These I think and I feel statements weaken the resolution of the essay. If you believe something, state it as fact and don't soften it with a qualifier. The best part of this paragraph is the fact that if they only read this and nothing else, the donor would get essentially all the information they need to know about who she is, specifically as it is relevant to them. This is important because when it comes to reviewing essays, you always want to assume that the scholarship committee is reading your first paragraph and then skimming the rest. Now let's move on to her second paragraph. This is her first draft again. This is a prime example of what's called telling instead of showing. She makes several statements, but doesn't have much to back them up. She tells us she is familiar with other cultures and languages, that she learned to cope with stress and overcome obstacles, and she tells us that she respects and values people. But we have no reason to believe her. She could be making all of this up. Ultimately, what she needs to do is tell us a story in which she shows us that these things are true. And that's just what she does. In this final draft, she shows us she is familiar with other cultures and languages by referencing her experiences in China, America, Chile, and Spain. She shows us that she's lived out of her comfort zone and learned to overcome obstacles, just in the fact that she immigrated from a very different country. She shows us that she respects and values people from the interactions she has with her patient. She shows us her empathy and how highly she prioritizes her patient's mental and physical well-being. And she also manages to answer the essay question again, but in a different way. By telling a story, you're drawing the reader in and coaxing them into reading instead of skimming. Finally, here is her last paragraph. She keeps it very short and clear because by the end of the essay, your reader isn't going to want to sludge through a long paragraph. She doesn't introduce new information, which is something you should never do in the conclusion, but she does retell her answer to the original question in a new way. She drives home what her answer to the prompt is and leaves the reader with a short and powerful statement about who she is. So, here are some drafting tips to go with that example. If we're assuming that your reader is going to read the first paragraph and skim the rest, that means you never ever want to bury the lead or save the best for last. Always start with the most important information first. Also, if they're skimming, you need to make your writing skimming friendly. Focus on being short, concise, and clear. Identify good key words and use them strategically. And be sure to keep your essay under the word count. Less is more in this situation. Remember that your readers are most likely to remember your first and last words, so be very intentional with them. Students tend to lose steam at the end, but that is the worst thing that you can do. Lastly, always make sure you are showing instead of telling. You can make all the claims you want, but unless you have something to back them up, they're ultimately meaningless. Now, the student that I was working with, she was able to do all of these things, including getting her word count down. She started at 62 words over the word limit, and we got her word count down to 61 words under the limit. This means that we cut about 120 words from her essay, yet she managed to tell even more of her story and do it more effectively. So always remember, no matter what questions they ask you, donors ultimately want to know who you are and what you care about. But to use your time and word count effectively, you want to focus on the values and methods that you have in common. This has been Jordan Nelson on the George Fox Financial Aid Podcast. Thanks for joining me today, and good luck on completing those applications.